You're listening to a Frequency Podcast Network production.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
This is the Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Welcome to Monday. I'm Dalby from the Brock and Dalby Show, and happy Thanksgiving to everybody who decided to pull up the Brock and Dalby Podcast this morning and have a listen, or maybe you're listening to it in the future, in which case we ate turkey today, and I hope it was good for you as it was for us. The BCC 5050, bcc5050.ca, if you're in the province of Ontario, sitting at just about $74,000 at the time of recording this on Holiday Monday, and that is what we're thankful for. Also thankful to be able to give you some bonus clips from last week here on the podcast.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
And I just want you to text 762-555. Send a question to us. Anything that you want. 762-555. Who but Brock? I like it.
I was going to go with Brockastank.
Brockstank. I didn't feel comfortable being the first one to say it, but if that's where you want to go, I'm behind you.
I think Hoobastank's making a comeback. I saw at a bunch of recent festivals. They're on the poster.
Can I say something? And maybe this fits. Maybe I'm disqualified because I've already said, like, I grew up listening to ICP and Limp Bizkit and all this other stuff. But when I was in high school, I really liked Hoobastank.
They're a pretty good band. I mean, everybody only knows the one song, but they got some bangers.
Dude, they used to have some really great songs, and people go after them a lot, and I'm just kind of like, I don't know, man. I thought they were pretty cool.
They were going to make a comeback like Creed, I'm telling you. First one in here is a classic. Every Thursday, the FLC guys ask for a shout-out, and I always mess up what their business is, but someone did tell me that FLC does stand for Fred's Linguini Cathedral, and apparently it's great eats.
I would totally get a table at Fred's Linguini Cathedral if it only wasn't so packed all the time.
I know.
We're 5 people in the house now. Try to get a table at Fred's for 5 people? I'm booked into next year already.
You're also not allowed to swear because technically it's a house of God.
That's true. By calling it a cathedral, it is in fact a religious house.
Someone said, why the hell can't people drive properly? Well, we ask ourselves that every day.
Every single day. We're out on these streets at like 4:35 in the morning, and it's still bad.
Think about it like this, though. If you didn't have bad drivers, you wouldn't feel a little bit better about yourself then, you know?
It is rewarding knowing that on a planet with 8 billion people, I am the best driver.
You need those things in life that make you feel above people, which I know is a really messed up thing to say, but if you didn't have it, like the people who are bad at driving, they know deep down they're bad.
Somewhere in your soul, you have to, right? Like, these people aren't that deluded.
We got another one here. It says, I'm curious what your take on this is. Blowing the nose in the shower. My girlfriend says it's disgusting. I think it's the best place considering I have a dusty job.
So absolutely the best place. 100%. Because you are not wasting tissue or toilet paper to blow your nose. Paper towel if you're a real weird.
Yeah.
You're getting it out. Plus, you get the steam of the showers, loosening things up.
And I get the girlfriend's perspective of being like, oh, I got to step in there. Courtney says it to me all the time, and what I say to her is, I'm the one who cleans the bathroom.
Hang on. Is the girlfriend in the shower at the time? Because if not...
Actually, that's different. If she's in the shower with you...
That's bad.
Completely different situation.
That's a horrible idea, and you shouldn't do that. But if she's not in the shower, if you're just in there by yourself, male or female, and you snot rocket... The water and all the soap and everything washes it down the drain.
I didn't even think about if she was in there or not. That changes the whole perspective.
I'm not a 2 people in the shower at a time kind of guy, but some people are into that, and if you're into that, don't blow snot rockets on people.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
An employee at an art museum in the Netherlands threw out some art by mistake over the weekend.
You know what? Without even hearing the rest of the story, I believe it. The things that pass for art some days.
The guy was in the elevator and he saw 2 painted cans that he thought someone had just maybe left behind.
Sorry, did you say cans?
2 beer cans, actually.
Okay.
So he threw them in the trash, and then the museum asked the next day and said, hey, where did this art piece go? He was like, oh, the art piece? You mean the 2 cans that someone left in the elevator?
You mean the garbage?
Turns out that was art. Priceless art is what they're calling it.
Come on!
The museum says they bear no ill will towards the worker who was, quote unquote, doing his job in good faith. And the museum director says, in a way, it's a testament to the effectiveness of the artist's work.
Damn, I'm gonna hit up the beer store on the way home, pick up a 6-pack, and see if my kids can paint some priceless art after school
Who knew
today.
that my recycling bin sitting outside of my house right now is just filled with art?
Maybe that's the problem. He threw the beer cans in the garbage. He didn't put them in the blue bin, and that's the biggest
You
deal.
ever see that guy riding around your neighborhood on his bike with all those cans?
The artiste?
Yeah, the true artist of the neighborhood, if you will.
He's just collecting canvases, you guys.
A modern-day Van Gogh, some say.
Can go.
This is the Brock and Dalby Podcast.
You know, with the planes these days, if they have the screens on the back of the seat, you can sit down, you can like choose what like movie or TV show you want to watch on the entertainment system. Apparently they had a glitch on a flight the other day. It was like a longer flight, and it just started on every seat playing the same movie instead of giving.
That's horrible.
It was awful. Made worse by the fact that it is a movie filled with like sex scenes and nudity.
What movie was it?
Apparently it's called Daddy-O. It's a Dakota Johnson movie.
Oh, I was going to say, is that a smut film?
So it's not like a full-on like adult film, beaded curtain, pay $3.99 a minute, any of that stuff.
It's rated R.
It's just a regular movie. Apparently not. Apparently it's rated 14A, but has like nudity and scenes in it. I don't know how that works, but all these people on this airline... Oh, sorry, the flight was going from Australia to Japan. So it's a lengthy flight. And all these customers are now complaining that they were forced to, like, with kids in tow, watch this movie where it's Dakota Johnson and Sean Penn in a cab. And they're both, like, reminiscing on loves of their life.
Yeah.
While they're driving to the airport.
So just a bunch of hookup scenes?
And I'm just saying, like, that sucks. Because if you're on a flight, if you've ever been on a flight with a kid, you're doing anything you can to try and keep them entertained, right? Like, they can't get up and run around.
Screw the kids. I'll say this. Whenever I'm on a plane and I watch a movie and there's a sex scene, I start looking around and I'm like, oh, I hope nobody else is looking at my screen right now.
Everybody thinks you're a pervert.
I feel gross.
100% everybody thinks you're a pervert. I don't even know why they offer that. Like, I understand that you want to give a variety of entertainment options for your customers, but that should be an immediate disqualifier, especially if you're sitting in a row with other people flanking you on left and right. You shouldn't be able to pick any movie that has nudity.
Or at least they could put those screen protectors on that people have on their phones where from the side it gets blacked out.
Oh, yeah. Where it like filters out the image.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I feel like I want to know what the person next to me is watching. Maybe I'm just nosy. But I will look over and see what the person next to me is watching, whether it's for like, oh, I also kind of want to watch that, or to see if they're watching adult films while we're sitting next to me. We're sharing an armrest, brother. I need to know what pure thoughts are going through your mind right now.
I had it once on a laptop where I opened my laptop when I got to the airport.
Okay.
And the last thing I watched was,
No.
It was like nightmare kind of stuff, and you opened it and it was like, ah, and I was like, oh no. Oh no. That's my nightmare. Every time I open my laptop in public, I'm like, what was the last thing I was watching on here?
Where are you in the airport in this scenario?
I'm like waiting at my gate.
So you've gone through security.
Yeah.
You know what would be a great prank if you were airport security? Because when you have a laptop, you have to take it out and put it in its own bin. And they'll take it out and they'll dust it for whatever they're looking for, right?
Yeah.
It would be great to just like open someone's laptop and quickly go to a browser and just type in the hub. So that when they do open their laptop,
I would take you to court. I would take you to, that's defamation, dude. That should be illegal.
Volume full, start a movie, close it back up. Here's your laptop back. Maybe you're not even in the same city anymore by the time you open it up.
Straight to jail if you do that.
Is that too far?
That's way too far.
Airport got to be one of the worst places to watch an adult an adult film.
I mean, let's get real. Anywhere besides the comfort of your own home is the worst place to watch an adult film. Do you have any better suggestions on places that you should be watching porn? I don't think there's a good option. What, in your car?
You have a little dashboard mount for your phone, you know?
If I saw some dude watching X-rated flicks in his car, I would lose my mind.
Pull up at a red light.
That's a crazy idea.
You ever do that thing where if you get stuck by like a van, you try to see what movie the kids are watching on the in-flight? Imagine you peek through and it's fully adult. Oh,
I know
God.
there's lots of people, and they shouldn't, but they drive and they watch Netflix all the time. They're like, I just listen to the movie. Like, it just helps keep me sane when I'm on the road.
You can buy, like, plugins and stuff for your car to turn your screen into, like, a Netflix screen.
But if you're
crazy.
watching Debbie Does Dallas, like, that's nuts. That's absolutely insane.
I'm just listening. I'm not watching it. That's not better. That would be actually maybe worse.
It helps me feel stress-free when I'm on the 401, you know?
When I'm tied up in traffic.
Imagine explaining that one to the insurance. How'd you get into the accident?
Well, I was distracted by the climax of the film, you see.
I was actually just on page 4 of the hub. I couldn't find what I wanted to watch. That's insane behavior.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
That's one reason why I don't have a cell phone. So that way nobody can catch me.
Brother Jay's an old school magazine kind of guy.
You got it, man. I turned the page.
Yeah, but even the idea of reading a dirty magazine in public.
Well, this conversation started with an airline going from Australia to Japan that accidentally put on a movie on every screen that featured adult stuff, and we were kind of like, that's uncomfortable. But imagine you're sitting, worst case scenario, you got the middle seat, you got aisle, and you got window next to you, and one of them takes out like a hustler.
Oh, my God.
That flight just got 100 times more awkward.
You can have the armrest. Like, I am staying as close to myself as possible, man.
I think the armrest might be yours for the taking. He seems otherwise occupied.
The weird thing is they sell those magazines at the airport, but why? You're just encouraging that behavior, right?
I don't fly a lot, but I've been on a fair share, and I can't ever remember seeing someone like sitting by the gate, thumbing through a Playboy, you know what I mean? Waiting for the gate to open.
If you're on the plane and you see that guy reading that stuff, and then he gets up to go to the bathroom, that's suspect as all hell.
I think before you're allowed to go to the bathroom, you should have to surrender the magazine to a flight attendant. Like, you shouldn't. We need some assurance.
I don't think anybody wants to touch that guy or anything that he has, to be honest with you. I don't want any connection with this guy at all.
It is crazy to think that those are still, like, just sold oh my God, I just remembered. So when I lived in Lloydminster in, like, the mid-2000s, there used to be, Husky truck stops. They're all over the place. Great food. And it was, sadly, maybe this is a condemnation of Lloydminster, but maybe one of the best restaurants in the city at the time. So my wife and I used to go there for lunch sometimes when we'd get off work.
Did you see a guy reading?
I watched a dude come out of the gas station convenience store part of the truck stop and come over into the restaurant where we were sitting, sat down, ordered a plate of fries and gravy, and then pulled out a magazine. I have to assume he just purchased next door.
Like he was reading a Stephen King novel?
Like one-handed. He had, like, the pages separated,
That's
holding
wild.
it up, reading the articles while just mowing down fries and gravy.
Are truckers the only one that still go, like, acoustic on the porn front?
I hate the phrase going acoustic.
You're either going digital or electric, or you're going acoustic. I don't know anyone that still does the magazine tip.
Brother Jay said he does, so
guess,
that's one.
yeah.
I have to assume it's probably mostly like kids who've inherited their older brother's stash, maybe, is still a magazine
I know
thing.
some people treat them as a collector's item.
Maybe it's like if you live outside of town, you don't have great cell service, great Wi-Fi.
I guess.
Maybe you're forced to,
You're preparing for the war or, like, the end of the world.
Doomsday preppers. What do I have in the bunker? I got the freeze-dried food. I got water for 2 years. I got a stack of hustlers.
I will say, I'm passing a lot of judgment right now, but if the apocalypse happened tomorrow,
right,
and then someone was like, hey, look at my little treasure chest here.
The guy with the filing cabinet full of magazines is king. When all the cell towers crash around the world, when AI finally takes over, when they try to plug us into the Matrix, it's the guy with the magazines with the pages that don't open quite right that is in charge.
It's just hitting me now at 5:51 in the morning that at 29 years of living,
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever paid for smut in my entire life.
Oh. 41.
Because it's all like the whole world that I've grown up with, it's always been free.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think by the time I was old enough to go buy it in a store, the internet existed. Like, I'm on the cusp where I was maybe a couple years earlier and I would have had to fend for myself. But even in the days of dial-up, you could find a JPEG.
The closest I've ever got was buying that Sasquatch book a few years ago.
The Sasquatch smut book you bought?
Yeah.
You know what? Let's put that out there, though. If you want to pass judgment on that trucker sitting in the Lloydminster Husky truck stop, reading porn and eating fries,
You want to pass judgment on the guy in his car.
you also have to pass judgment on that lady reading 50 Shades of Grey down at the bus shelter. She's just as guilty as he is.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Canada Post announced that they will be recognizing Much Music and Music Plus
Oh, yeah.
with their own commemorative postal stamps.
Perfect, because the only thing more outdated than TV channels that play music videos is sending physical mail.
I thought the exact same thing. What a way to say that something is dead by using the other thing.
And I'm sorry, it's disrespectful to say it. I know that we have people, because we've texted and called with them, who work for Canada Post that listen to the show, and I mean no disrespect, but the irony is too good.
It's super funny, right? The fact of like two things that are basically extinct.
Also, just the idea of like licking the back of a George Stroumboulopoulos and smacking it on an envelope.
That's what it's gonna be like. Is it gonna be that? Is it gonna be a photo of Rick the Temp? Like,
Yeah. Or is it going to be like still frames from music videos? Like, what's the plan with?
or maybe it's just the logo itself.
Ugh.
I mean, hey, if it is for the Music Plus, maybe it could be that French Kiss program that they used to have. The whole licking thing kind of seems fitting.
Yeah, no, I think it's just Ed the Sock. They are scratch and sniff.
You know what? I would collect an Ed the Sock stamp. Honestly, I would.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
If you were planning on going to go see that new Joker movie, maybe don't. It's got terrible reviews, 33% at Rotten Tomatoes.
You are looking at this entirely the wrong way. You're all, oh, the reviews are bad. No, if you're planning, or were planning, on going to see Joker 2, the musical, just know that you'll probably have plenty of room on either side of you. God, look at the silver lining. Shorter lines, faster concessions.
It had a $121 million budget, and apparently it only made $40 million this weekend, so it's already being dubbed a box office bomb.
I saw the Saturday number was only 20 mil. I'm guessing they did the same on Sunday. And I mean, I think they had to know that it was going to be a drop from the first one because they fully got behind the idea that it is a musical number.
Why was it a musical, though?
I saw somewhere, and I don't know if this is gospel, so please, if this is of interest to you, go look it up for yourselves. But I read somewhere that it was to spite people who didn't get the idea that the Joker was not a hero in the first movie.
Yeah.
Because we talked about it on the show. People saw the Joker, the first one, and they were like, yeah, look at him sticking it to the man and the system. And it's like, this is a person with mental illness who commits murder. This is not someone we should be idolizing.
I don't know. I'm not big into musicals myself, but I
Sure.
just don't get why they'd even do it. That's like, I don't know. That'd be like making a Shawshank Redemption musical version. Like,
You know what? You have my attention. Tell me more. I would watch that.
as he's crawling through the pipes of feces, he's just singing along.
Dude, imagine Brooks singing this like really heart-wrenching song as he's putting the noose up over the beam.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it would be a tearjerker.
You know what? What movie would actually be pretty good as a musical?
trying to think. I feel like any of the football movies, like in Any Given Sunday, Longest Yard.
The Replacements.
The Replacements for sure would be good. Just put some musical numbers. You've already got cheerleaders and dancing in there. Imagine Keanu Reeves singing while under center, taking the snap.
Oh, just saying Keanu Reeves. If you made John Wick
a
musical,
a murder musical.
Who stole my dog? I want my dog.
It's if you cut video, it's like this thing where you can really make something feel more impactful if you have things that happen on the beats of the songs. Imagine if every time the drums hit, someone else got shot.
Instead of actual drums, it's just the sound of machine guns.
It's just bullets firing.
Yeah,
left
every time a
and
gun
right.
fires off, it's just a snare drum being hit. That's all it is.
I would go and watch that, or even The Matrix. If you want to stay in the Keanu Reeves world, turn The Matrix into a musical as he's like learning kung fu and traveling through
all the
net.
fight scenes are just epic dance scenes, is what they are now. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's like when you watch Grease, right? And they're all walking and they're snapping their fingers, except they're all wearing long black trench coats.
I mean, you could just basically make the Fast and Furious Grease.
It basically already is. A little more Corona, a little more family.
Every song is about family, is what it is.
Do you think that The Rock, because like The Rock made a lot of money on the Moana movie where he was singing along. Do you think maybe The Rock's going to start incorporating more singing scenes into his action movies?
It's a great way to reboot The Scorpion King and make a little more money this time.
This is the Brock and Dalby Podcast.
I got asked to be in a radio contest yesterday as a judge.
Okay.
That was a weird experience. Basically, it's some contest called Radio Star. It's like an international thing where people from around the world apply. And I think at the end, there's like some radio job in the Cayman Islands that's up for grabs.
Do you get to be like Randy Jackson? You can be like, that's going to be a no for me, dog.
Well, basically, that's what it was. I had to listen to 10 different clips from people from Canada, the UK, Scotland, Ireland, all over the place, all vying for this job. And then I had to give them a score out of 100 based on, like, I don't know, I guess been in radio for a while. So they were like, you're an expert. Tell them what they're doing wrong. And not only did I have to give them a score, but I had to, like, write out, like, you did this well. You did this poorly. You could have done this better.
You're legit critiquing them, yeah.
I hated it. Oh my God. I am not cut out to be. Some people are good at judging things. Some people are like, they're critics and stuff like that for a living. I don't think I could do it. As I was writing these notes of people that were like needed work on things, all I could picture is like, well, this person's going to hate me now.
Man, they should ask some of the people that hate our show because, I mean, they judge us all the time. I see those texts coming in. They should be judges for this radio
I should just
Star
start
thing.
sending out these links to people on our text line and be like, hey, can you help out with this contest? You seem to have a real knack for it.
Yeah.
Have you ever judged, like, have you ever asked to judge anything before?
There was a karaoke contest when I lived in Prince Albert, Saskatchewan, and then they also had a lip syncing contest that I got to be a judge for. That was pretty fun.
Lip syncing contest, I feel like, yeah, like air guitar, that sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
I feel like that would be fun because, like, nobody's taking it too seriously. But even with the karaoke contest, like, were there people getting upset?
Oh, yeah.
See, that's the part I
Also, it's
can't
like
handle.
if you've heard me sing before, there's no reason I should have been a judge at the contest.
Oh, I didn't even think that's amazing.
Right? Well, you never think about like who the judges actually are and what their background is sometimes.
What they're
Like,
capable of.
there's a lot of times that like I've worked a lot of events in radio over the years where they're like, we've got a celebrity judge, and you're like, celebrity's a bit of a stretch,
Yeah,
but like
we don't use the C word in that context. Sorry.
I will say, I think the coolest one that you could be a judge for is, I don't know if High Times still does it, but the Cannabis Cup.
Oh, is that where you go through different strains?
Yeah, they literally have just a group of people that just sit around there and just kind of pass the Dutchie to the left-hand side.
See, I feel like that one would be tough after the first one. Right? Because, like, you would do it, and then you would impair you for being able to judge all the others, wouldn't it?
You got enough experience, you know what you're doing, right?
The best thing I was ever asked to judge, I got asked to judge a food truck wars back in Saskatchewan, where basically they just took over, like, a mall parking lot, brought in about half a dozen food trucks, and they all prepared food for me.
Yeah.
And then I decided which one was best.
The only thing that sucks about food is some food sucks.
Yeah.
So then it's like you're just eating crappy food and you know that it sucks and you're going to give it a bad score, but you still have to eat it.
Yeah, well, I feel like that's the clean plate club, right? Like, you can look, okay, I got 6 things in front of me. 4 of them I completely demolished the entire thing, and the other 2 I picked at. 4-2, I think, is still worth the effort. I think it's still worth the time of, I had to eat a couple of
free
bad
food
things.
is free food, I guess.
Free food is free food, and if most of it is delicious, then that's a good time.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
We got a unanimous answer on the text line of wet t-shirt or bikini contest from a lot of the guys.
Yeah, poll competitions we're seeing on that. But also, some of the other more interesting answers here. Ashley says she always thought it would be fun to be a judge on, like, one of those either dance or singing shows on TV. Like, she mentioned America's Best Dance Crew.
Okay.
She's like, I'm already judging from the couch. I was thinking about, like, America's, America's Got Talent, Canada's Got Talent. Mm-hmm. I think those ones would be fun at the beginning when you get the good and bad acts, like, early auditioning.
Yeah.
Because it's so much fun to laugh at some of the bad ones.
Also, it'd be a really sick feeling to just crush someone's dreams and hit the
Right. Someone's standing up there, they give you the big 2-minute sob story about, like, I'm here for my mom and my dad, and they always believed in me, and then you're just like, you are not good enough at this. And
yeah. I mean, in general, what if they had, like, the Olympics, but instead of having judges that are, you know, known in that sport,
right,
you just had the average Joes that are sitting with the potato chips on their chest being like,
It would definitely make things, like, with breakdancing at the Olympics this year, and, like, there was all this talk about, like, how does the scoring work in a dance competition? Would have been hilarious to just judge based off of, like, 5 regular people sitting off to the side, and every time at least 3 of them go, oh, it's like, okay, that's a point for this dancer.
yeah.
Anytime you can blow away someone who has no knowledge of the sport, you get a point. I also like Justice's text, 762-555, where he said, I would love to just be Judge Justice, like Judge Joe Brown on one of those TV judge shows.
Oh, yeah, or like Judge Judy kind of thing.
And just have people bring all their messy business and tell you their stories, and then you get to just, like, lord over them at the end of the day.
Brother, that's called Facebook.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast. Would you rather? Wednesday. Would you rather Wednesday?
Would you rather eat lettuce for the rest of your life or have to sleep on the floor for the rest of your life?
My back's already wrecked. I'll sleep on the floor. Can't get any worse.
Either way, it's rabbit behavior.
That's true. Can I have some shavings to lie on to make a little nest in?
Someone said, would you rather be good enough to play hockey for the Leafs or win $1 million? I mean, I think if you're playing for the Leafs,
you're probably making at least, what's league minimums? $500,000 or more now.
$750,000, I think.
Yeah, so I mean, I would rather be good enough to play for the Leafs, get my money and leave.
Maybe some endorsements on top of that. You get a 2-year contract, you get some bonuses, some signing stuff.
I mean, there was a good period of time in the NHL where that was part of, like, the exit strategy, right? You'd go into the NHL, you'd have a long, successful career. Once you were in your mid-40s, you'd sign with the Leafs, get a couple paychecks, and then you take off.
Yeah. Jeff O'Neill, McGillney, Newendike, Gary Roberts, yeah.
Would you rather every one of your farts is ridiculously long and squeaky or short like a thunderclap?
I mean, the long would be funny at times, but then it would make for some awkward moments, and also people would just be disgusted.
No, but if the short, like a thunderclap, like a every single time, I would rather have the long squeaky one.
Listen, I go to a lot of concerts.
You're gonna hide them in the bass drums?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I go to a lot of those metalcore shows. As soon as they hit the
you just let it buck.
Final one that I want to get to here. This one says, would you rather play a game of golf or spend the time looking at your phone the entire time?
Shut up.
The best part is Rogers Sportsnet released a video.
Oh, keeping in mind the company we work for.
And there's 2 different shots of Dalby still on his phone. Not the same photo that I sent you guys the other day. Everything that has you from the Golf Town 400 some event is you on your phone, dude.
No. There's one clip in the video that shows me hitting the ball. as part of the 400. I don't have my phone in my hand.
There's a guy in front of you. We can't tell if that's you or not.
That's me. It's very clearly me. Come on, don't take this away from me.
You're probably looking at your phone. You probably didn't even hit a ball, did you?
Someone else is holding my phone and I hit the ball. I have the video.
Well, the phone was still involved, wasn't it?
I wasn't on it.
God dang millennials, man. Make me sick. Look up at the world once in a while, brother.
Shut up.
It's a beautiful place.
For more Brock and Dalby, tune in weekday mornings 5:30 to 9.
The Brock and Dalby podcast is brought to you by badshop.ca, the Brock and Dalby merch store, with all proceeds going to the Canadian Cancer Society.